We got a hot topic today, and it is wide lenses. Wide lenses, this baby right here. This is not the only one that is on the market. This is not necessarily the best one, but it's also not a bad one. So, what wide lens should you buy in 2022? Why would you buy a wide lens in 2022? We will cover those bases in this video, jumping into it. Which one do I have in my hand right here? This right here. This is the 16 to 35 f2.8 Mark II. So this is the EF mount. You see this adapter that I have right here. This is so I can use it on my R5. This is so I can use it on my mirrorless setup for Canon. So this is my beast of a wide lens that I use pretty much every single day. In this video, we're talking Canon wide lenses. So if you don't shoot Canon, if you're not interested in that, I'm sorry. That's what I use. Feel free to click off. It doesn't really matter, but I know a thing or two about the other ones. Maybe I'll try and dabble in there a little bit. But what do I like about this one, and what do I use it for most days? So what I like about this 16 to 35 f2.8 is it gives me that wide perspective that a lot of the times I need whenever I'm especially shooting interiors. Whenever you're shooting real estate, a wide lens is very necessary. But also, whenever you're trying to get those epic landscapes, get everything in there. Whenever you're trying to maybe get a really cool shot of the city, you want to get the whole wide shot of a building. Maybe you are shooting and trying to get a very wide shot of a football field, trying to get a wide shot of any kind of scene. This is the best lens that you can have. Now, people might argue that a 24 mil will be good enough for that, but it's almost cool because this gives a tiny bit of distortion. If you don't know much about lenses, the easiest way of describing it is pull out your iPhone. And your iPhone has that 0.5x lens. That's what a wide angle lens is. That lens is super, super wide. You can see so much, and it just is dialed in whenever it comes to showing a lot. So you might use it whenever you're capturing a scene. Maybe you're taking a picture of a boat dock that you're at. It's beautiful for that. The wide lens is the best. I love it on my iPhone. I would never go back to an old model pretty much solely because I like having the wide lens. That's kind of a dumb reason, but it is what it is. I don't even use my phone camera that much. But what other wide lenses are there as options whenever you're shopping around for one? So, as I mentioned, this is the Mark II of the EF line. There's a 16 to 35 f2.8 Mark 1, 2, and 3. As you could guess, the third is going to be the best. The third will have slightly upgraded autofocus, slightly better glass, and also less vignetting around the edges. If you don't know what vignetting is, right around here, around the corner, you might see a little bit darker there, and that's what the vignetting is. There's a little bit of a darker or brighter edge around the corners, and what we're paying for in these expensive lenses is to try to avoid that and also try to avoid it being distorted. A funny exercise that you can do is you can pull out your iPhone, and let me grab mine out of my pocket. Go over to your camera app and click on the 0.5. So whenever you're on 0.5, you'll see it's a very wide angle. A funny thing that you can do, which will show you a lot about distortion, hold it up super close to your face and take a picture. So I will put my picture on screen. That is what it looks like. It's so distorted. My face looks so long. My eyes look horrible. And that is what these wide lenses will do if you do a close-up. That's pretty much what it's doing to everything, but it's not distorting these wide scenes because everything's much further away. If you are shooting portraits, do not shoot it with the 16 mil. It won't look good, period. It'll distort the subject. They won't be happy with it, I can guarantee that. But other than the 16 to 35, which is probably the middle of the road option that I'm going to talk about today, what are the cheaper options? What are the maybe not as quality options that you can get that are still going to be very nice? So a good option is the Canon 17 to 40 f4. So you are losing 1mm whenever you are shooting, which you probably won't realize that much. But if you put them side by side, it won't be quite as wide, but also that means that there won't be quite as much distortion. And also, you're losing a couple stops in the aperture. So it's f4. That means that you'll have to pump your ISO a little bit just to get it to the same brightness as if we were using the 16 to 35 f2.8. The 17 to 40 is a nice lens, but if you want that one more millimeter, they also sell a 16 to 35 f4. This is a good option, but I would say don't necessarily buy a 16 to 35 unless it's going to be the f2.8. The 17 to 40 would be the better option in my opinion if you want to go one step down from the 16 to 35. It's a similar lens, but it's not going to be the exact same, but the price difference is going to be nice. It'll save you a couple bucks. Also, there's wider versions. There's a 14 to 24. That is a beautiful lens. So that will give you extra wideness for real estate. Real estate is a time where you need these wide lenses a lot. You want to make the room look as big as possible. So using a wide lens will save you. The 14 to 24 is a very, very heavy lens, and it's also very expensive. Whenever you are diving into these waters, you better make sure that you have a real use for it. Don't make the mistake that I've seen a lot of creatives make by buying these lenses and then not necessarily using them. A wide lens is very appealing at the beginning of your career. You want to get these wide, epic landscapes, but you might not use it that much as you evolve. Using a 14 to 24 is a very niche lens. A 24 is wide, and that's as tight as this lens can go. A 14 is ultra wide, and there's not many uses for it other than real estate or capturing big scenes. There will probably be a little bit of distortion in that, but you kind of pick and choose what you want. But what is the better option today? As Canon has rolled out these mirrorless lenses, the RF glass. I've talked about the lens that I have before, and the lens that I'm shooting this video on right now is my 24 to 70 RF lens. I love it. The autofocus is insane. It's so sharp. I love it so much. They also have a wide angle version of it. They have the 15 to 35 f2.8 that actually has image stabilization. This is huge. This lens is amazing, and it's a lot better than this one, to be honest, but I don't think it's good enough that you should upgrade from your EF lenses to your RF lenses if you already have that model. Now, if for some reason your lens is old or you've used it a lot, by all means go ahead and upgrade, but if you have a brand new EF lens, don't feel like you need to upgrade. The nice things about this 15 to 35 is that number one, you have that extra millimeter. Now, you won't necessarily notice it that much, as I mentioned, whenever we were going the other way with the 17 to 40, but the 15 millimeter does give you one more millimeter of wideness that will be great for real estate, will be good for capturing these wide, epic scenes. So that'll be really nice. Another great thing about it is that it has image stabilization. That is huge. A lot of the times whenever people are using these wide lenses as well is they're vlogging. Whenever you have image stabilization in the lens combined with the camera, if you're using the R5, it's going to be pretty stable. It's going to do a very good job if you're walking and don't necessarily have a gimbal with you. It will eliminate those little micro jitters that you get whenever you're going handheld, because your hands are shaking whether you think they are or not. Your hands are not that steady. Maybe you are super steady and you're like a surgeon or something, but I don't think you're watching this video if you're a surgeon. And the 15 to 35 rather is the best wide lens on the market. It's the best wide zoom lens on the market. Now, if you're getting a wide lens, you can opt to get a prime. For example, there's a 14 millimeter f2.8 prime That is nice, but it's so niche that I don't think I would recommend it. I personally just don't have that many cases that I would necessarily want that in, so I don't think I could justify getting a prime wide lens. If all you're shooting is real estate, go ahead and do it. If you want a very wide lens to vlog with, I don't think that's your best bet. I think you are better getting a 16 to 35 or 15 to 35 because it'll be around the same price point, and also you will have the zoom feature. I don't believe that you lose that much sharpness whenever you are using a zoom lens versus a prime lens. People will probably come for my throat whenever I say that, but in my opinion, that's the truth of the matter. You don't lose that much. People just like to nitpick, and people like to really dive into every single pixel and pixel peep all of these. You don't really notice it, let's be honest. It's like a wine connoisseur. Whenever you give them boxed wine in a beautiful bottle and then a really nice wine in a box, they're going to say that the beautiful bottle is better because it's a bunch of BS. That's just my hot take there. Not sure how I went on that tangent. But what are some cases that you're going to use this wide lens in? So, as I mentioned before, real estate. Real estate's huge. You want to make the room look very large, and you want to make everything just look big. So, the wide lens will be great for that. Vlogging, you want to have the camera in front of you. You also want to show as much of you and as much of the scene as possible. So if you're just holding it at arm's length away, you need that wide lens. You can't have a tight lens, or else all you'll see is like your face. We want to show what's around us. So number 2 is a vlog. Number 3 is a wide scene or a landscape. That is a great time to use it, because instead of taking a panorama, you can use this wide lens and capture everything. You can also get that little bit of distortion, which sometimes can actually be used stylistically. It's really nice. So those are the 3 times where I see that a wide lens is mostly used. Interiors and exteriors for real estate, vlogging, and a scene, a beautiful landscape, anything like that. So those are the lenses that I would say you should look into if you are in the market for a wide lens. Now, as I mentioned before, I know a little bit about the other brands. I know Sony offers a 16 to 35 f2.8. I believe Sigma offers a great Sony 16 to 35 f2.8. My buddy has it and he really likes it. And for the other brands, I have no idea. So sorry about that. Sorry if I kept you waiting if you're like a Nikon user or something. But I can't recommend anything for those. I'm not your guy. I am your guy for Canon gear, and pretty much Canon gear only. In that case, if you're a Canon shooter, stick around. If you're a Sony shooter, I can give you my 2 cents. Everything else, I have some other cool content that you might enjoy. I can still give you tips about Premiere. Every Saturday I drop a tutorial. Quick plug, shameless plug there. But anyways, I will see you in the next episode. Peace out, guys. Thank you for watching. I can't wait to see you next. Goodbye.